If you thought the Derek Chauvin verdict would calm things down in this country, not a chance. Today, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson were at the public viewing for 20-year-old Daunte Wright, who was allegedly shot accidentally by police officer Kim Potter while resisting arrest. This is one of two new cases the left is now focusing on after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was taken away in handcuffs, found guilty on all 3 counts of murdering George Floyd. Just minutes before the verdict was read, though, the left was talking about another police-involved shooting, this one happening in Columbus, Ohio. Floyd family attorney Ben Crump jumping all over this, looking for his next big payday. Crump tweeted out, "As we breathed a collective sigh of relief today, a community in Columbus felt the sting of another police shooting as Columbus police killed an unarmed 15-year-old black girl named Ma'Khia Bryant. Another child lost, another hashtag, justice for Ma'Khia Bryant." A total lie, unarmed, a complete lie from the man who could end up representing the family in this case, a man making a fortune off of all this. Here is the body camera footage police released shortly after this story broke.
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, get down!
Again, you see what cops go through. There's a lot happening for that officer in those very few seconds. This is a slow motion video released by police. They say that officers were responding to an emergency 911 call from somebody who reported an attempted stabbing at a home. So cops go in, they know that there's somebody with a deadly weapon. And then you see, and we're going to put it up right here, the knife. There it is in the right hand. It's going right at that girl in the pink. And the person holding that knife is a 16-year-old girl, Ma'Khia Bryant of Columbus. You can see Bryant about to stab that woman in the pink. Who knows where that knife would end up? The responding officer makes a quick decision amidst all that chaos, trying to save a life. This is exactly what cops are trained to do. Police immediately came to Bryant's aid after she was shot. And by the way, 16-year-olds don't have a big sign on their back saying I'm a teenager. This is how the liberals at NPR covered the story. Columbus police shoot and kill black teenage girl. That's it. That'll definitely get some clicks. Definitely don't mention the knife, right? You wouldn't want to do that, NPR. And why would NPR care about the facts? They are a left-wing propaganda arm for the Democrat Party. But that certainly will stir some things up. Here's a more accurate headline from the Associated Press. Police kill Ma'Khia Bryant, 16, who attacked 2 with knife. There you go. While the liberal media ran with this story, left-wing celebrities reminded us all that they are some of the stupidest people in America. LeBron James, one of them, tweeting a picture of the officer who fired the shots with the caption, "You're next," putting a target on the back of a man who likely saved a black girl's life that day. His agent likely talked some sense into LeBron, I would hope. That tweet was deleted. Comedian Kathy Griffin wrote this: "How in the hell does the police officer think it's a good idea to fire shots blindly into a group of teenagers having a fight? Yes, one of them has a knife. Oh, that never happened in your school or neighborhood? She didn't deserve to die, 16 years old Ma'Khia Bryant." So now people trying to murder other people in broad daylight in front of cops, ignoring cops' many demands to stop, should not be shot. That's the level of lack of personal responsibility that we're at. That's our expectation of society now. Welcome to the clown show once again. And by the way, perhaps the dumbest part of Kathy Griffin's tweet was the insinuation that knife attacks are just a normal part of everyday society. Oh, that never happened in your school? Never happened in your neighborhood? No, Kathy, that's not normal. And it's not normal in your neighborhood either, and it never was, you absolute phony. These are pictures right here of her hometown, Oak Park, Illinois, a lovely suburb outside of Chicago. It doesn't seem like Kathy Griffin had to dodge too many blades growing up in this neighborhood, and you shouldn't have to. Another liberal Hollywood fool, they're a dime a dozen these days. The media doing its part to turn the death of this girl into some kind of a scandal because they want a scandal, of course. One analyst on CNN tried to downplay this dangerous situation that the officer was walking into. Listen to this.
What if it were your daughter? What if it were your child? What if it were a member of your family, your neighbor, in essentially a teenage fight, a schoolyard fight?
Schoolyard fight with a knife going for the jugular. Reminds me of a schoolyard fight. Ma'Khia Bryant actually was a foster child Here's what her biological mom, who's now back in the picture, but not raising her for some reason, had to say.
Micaiah had a motherly nature about her. She promoted peace. And that's something that I want to always be remembered.
Motherly nature from the absentee mother. One person who was thankful for police was the woman in pink who was about to be stabbed and perhaps killed if you hit the right artery or vein. This was her with another officer right after it happened.
She came out at you with a knife earlier?
No, she just, that's what the police did.
That lady on the floor?
She came after me.
With a knife?
Yeah, so he got her.
No surprise, the media and the left refuse to give the American people the complete context for all of these incidents. They never want you to have the full story. They want to leave out things like, oh, she had a knife, stuff like that. From George Floyd to Daunte Wright, now to Ma'Khia Bryant. And it all starts at the very top. Here was Jen Psaki today.
We know that police violence disproportionately impacts Black and Latino people and communities, and that Black women and girls, like Black men and boys, experience higher rates of police violence. As you noted, just as America was hopeful of a step forward after the traumatic and exhausting trial of Derek Chauvin and the verdict that was reached. So our focus is on working to address systemic racism and implicit bias head-on.
They love to play with those numbers. They talk about they experience more contact with police. It's because you have a very small subsection of society that is committing an astounding amount of crime. That's why. More on that here in just a couple minutes. This is what Biden and many Democrats throughout the country ran on this past election. Systemic racism, of course. And we are now at a dangerous point where the far left wants to get rid of police altogether. And the Democrats that are in power, to some extent, are listening to this psychosis. America is racist, they're all chanting. Police are racist, the system is racist. We need to burn the entire thing down and start over. This is what we're hearing in this country right now. It's unreal. This was left-wing Attorney General Merrick Garland yesterday, right before the Chauvin verdict.
Racism is an American problem. I think that it's plain to me that there's has been and remains discrimination against African Americans. We do not yet have equal justice under law.
All lies. Lies with an agenda. We don't have a systemic racism problem. We have a culture problem in our inner cities. Crime and violence are glorified, bad parenting, fatherless households. All of these things are why crime is rampant and nobody respects law and order. But that's an old story. You can't make any money off that. You can't get any power off that story. You've heard the names Daunte Wright, George Floyd countless times, but you've never heard the name Jocelyn Adams, I would bet. No, Jocelyn Adams wasn't a violent felon resisting arrest. She wasn't trying to stab a girl while cops were trying to tell her to drop the knife. She's a 7-year-old girl. There she is right there. Pretty cute. She was shot to death in a Chicago McDonald's drive-thru last weekend. You haven't heard of her because Jocelyn Adams dies almost every single day in this country. The plague of crime in our inner cities isn't even a blip on the radar anymore in the conversation about all this. And that should tell you a whole lot. But sure, cops are the problem. Let's cut them off at the knees. The left does not care about actual victims in this country. They don't care about that little girl. She's inconsequential. What are you going to do with her? There's no power to be gained from her. Ask BLM members who Jocelyn Adams is. They're going to say, who? Oh, who cares? The left sees criminals as society's victims. So, of course, they have no choice but to completely ignore the victims of criminals. They can't get anywhere with that. Jocelyn Adams' story is an annoyance to organizations like Black Lives Matter. They don't want to hear about this. They can't make anything out of her. They can't do anything with her. Focus on the criminals who died while resisting arrest, though. Focus on the two men who at some point in their lives had both put guns up to women while robbing them. They're the real victims. Back to the myth of systemic racism. Last night we showed you this information from Heather McDonald of the Manhattan Institute, who we're going to be talking to here in just a couple minutes. Citing data from the Washington Post, the police fatally shot 9 unarmed blacks and 19 unarmed whites in 2019. There you have it. But the facts don't matter. We all know that. Here's the president.
And this takes acknowledging and confronting head-on systemic racism and the racial disparities that exist in policing and in our criminal justice system more broadly. Just
keep saying it, Mr. President, until it comes true. Democrats don't care that this kind of talk is destroying this country. Obviously, they don't care. They just care about the power that it's giving them in the short term. Respect for law enforcement has gone out the window. Just look at the way they're being treated. You see video like this all the time now over the past year. And it's reflecting in crime stats as well. The true irony of all this is that in most liberal policies, what happens is the exact opposite of what they intended. This is why liberalism is so foolish and fails every time. The exact intention, you get the exact opposite. These policies are slowly turning inner cities into a bloodbath. Everybody's watching it happen. Nobody wants to talk about it. These images are from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and Chicago during the last couple of weeks. People carrying pigs' heads with police hats on spikes, pitting the community against the people that are saving their lives every day. Ask the people that really live in Brownsville, Brooklyn, in the Bronx, south side of Chicago. They know who they can call. They know who they can trust. They know how bad their neighborhood is. Who's going to want to do the job of being a cop when you're second guessed at every turn and everybody hates you? President Trump made a note of the lack of respect for police during one of the debates last year. Take a listen.
The first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, "Pigs in a blanket," talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street. And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter.
Our own correspondent James Klug spoke with protesters yesterday. Here's one person's opinion of law enforcement. Take a look.
That's their flag that they hung up after Kim Potter accidentally killed Dante Wright. They hung the Blue Line flag in Brooklyn Center. So anyway, this is, in my opinion, what it's masking. They're fascists.
White woman with a fur collar coat. As phony as they come. What an embarrassment. The opposition to police pitting blacks against whites, dragging our country in a terrible direction, and the left is responsible. Listen to what these BLM activists said to people eating in restaurants in Brooklyn, New York, right after the George Floyd verdict.
New York. We don't want you here. 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 We don't want your money. We don't want your money. We don't want your taquerias. Owned by white men.
The guy screaming is a white guy, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I can only hope he hates himself as much as he hates the rest of white people in this country. You gotta love it. It's so stupid.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.